Did this video catch your attention? I thought it might have done. Now, honestly, I've not been in a fight, even though it may look like I've been in a bit of a scrap. I've not. I was out on Sunday with Sarah and some friends, and I had too much to drink in too short a space of time. I had a bottle of wine and 4 pints in about 3 hours, which is way too much, way too quick. And when we left the place we were at, hit one of them, hit the fresh air, and tripped over something I can't even remember anyway. So my nose and my face scraped the floor. So I've not been in a fight. I'm a lover, not a fighter, and all that. It was a case of got pissed really, and bruised ego now and a sore nose. But other than that, I'm okay, and hopefully these scabs and bruising on my nose and over my mouth will disappear over the next few days as it heals up. So there we go. I can be a bit of a mad one at times, but yeah. So anyway, that's not what this video is about. I just wanted to acknowledge the battles that are being won at the moment. I really do think that many of the battles are being won by our side. When I say our side, the people who are fighting for and protecting and defending basic human rights. I've talked about this so much. The people who understand that the luxuries that we may have in our lives and the privileges, they come a very, very, very distant second to basic fundamental human rights that we're all born with, that governments never grant but do take away. And as many would agree, we are in a war. We are in a propaganda and psychological war, a war aimed at removing every basic individual right in favour of the common good. And every war in history has involved a whole series of battles, usually over a prolonged period of time, not always, but this is certainly a prolonged period of time, and it's far from being over. But as I say, the battles, many of the battles are being won by our side now. And that means the powers that be, governments across the world, the puppet governments and the dark forces behind them, I think are now maybe starting to realise that we have realised who's boss. And we're boss, not them. Governments work for us, they serve us. Governments should be scared of the people, not the other way around. And maybe that's what's starting to happen. And that is happening through sheer force of will and a cultivation of such amazing life values. I talk about freedom and truth a lot. They are very, very precious to me, and I will defend my own liberty and the liberty of everybody else, to the death. And I believe that we live in an age where we've moved so far away from truth, and we need to find a way to start to recultivate our society's relationship with truth. And that means acknowledging what is some very, very, very ugly truths at the moment. But these values that are pouring out of people, that are motivating people, people are imbuing their lives with, realising that we are in the battle of our lives and that we do have the ultimate responsibility for the next generation, that the children's rights are our responsibility. So the cultivation of those values, the sheer force of will, the relentless pressure that is being applied, and it's being done by and large by the vast, vast, vast majority of people in a loving and peaceful way. And I think maybe that's come as a surprise to certain organisations and dark forces and shadowy figures. How could they possibly countenance the idea that the people wouldn't rise up violently? I've said for a while the threat of a violent uprising, it is still there, but it would never be enacted by people like us, people who've been fighting this fight for a long time now. It would be by the people who've bought into the lies, who've believed the most absurd things, and who one day wake up and realise what they've done and turn to violence. And that's still That is still a threat, but I'd say probably a receding threat at the moment. I mean, we can see what's happened with the NHS mandate in this country, and of course, the situation in Canada. Now, to me, as an onlooker, that is a revolution that's happening in Canada. I truly believe that is a peaceful uprising, a revolution is taking place. I also believe a revolution of sorts is taking place in this country. I've talked about it before. The people have said enough is enough and peacefully rejected the tyranny and slowly starting to reclaim their own individual sovereignty. Something else that's interesting, so much uplifting things are going on around the world, and let's cherish the battles that are being won. Now, with the caveat that this is far from over, we must remain vigilant. They have multiple angles of attack and aces up their sleeve, and we know all this. But again, as long as we stay true to our own values, we can defeat whatever they throw at us until they are exhausted. And yes, we all get tired, but there's so many of us now, and we are relentless, and we are fighting for a cause that is so worthy, that is so just, that is so good. Even if we're tired, we'll never give up. They will give up if we just keep at it, which we will, however long it takes. You may have realised, you may have seen this in your own lives, that there's a lot of people who are failing to be inspired by what's going on with these protest movements. The most uplifting and notable of which is what's going on with the truckers in Canada. Either they're not aware, they're not interested, or they see it and say, that apathy again. And it's interesting because I'm really starting to see that whilst there are many now and a growing number in our camp who feel part of it because we are part of it and are inspired with it and are motivated by it and feel that love and that truth and that appreciation and cherishing of freedom. There are those who they're just apathetic. And who was it? I think it might have been David Icke a few weeks ago. I read something or he said something. I think it was David Icke. He said the opposite of love isn't anger, it's apathy. And that makes perfect sense to me. It really does. Apathy, where you don't care. You don't care about anything. And there's a lot of people who really don't care. They really don't. And it's interesting to see that not only are they not shocked and disgusted by the evil, immoral things that have been asked of them, that have been done to them, that they've done to other people. Not only is there not shock and disgust at that, but when these dark forces are being counteracted by the light as they are now, they're not inspired. They're not drawn to the light. Both reactions are one of apathy. And that is symbolic of a society that has lost its way, or of a subsection of society that has lost its way. I can't believe it when I see the apathy that still is still very much a trait of a lot of people. When we're living in such tumultuous times of such rapid change, where there is the threat of the worst tyranny that mankind has ever faced, alongside this spiritual and peaceful revolution of people claiming their communities back, claiming their sovereign selves back, that many people just, all that matters to them is their comfort, still their comfort, their mogcons and their luxuries. Their priorities are still their holidays and their material possessions. I find it utterly astounded. So take some, I think, show ourselves some gratitude in the face of that, in the face of so many not doing anything at all to not only take on the tyranny, but to celebrate the amazing things that are going on in the face of it. I think we need to show ourselves some gratitude, give ourselves a pat on the back and say that this movement that has forced these changes resulting in these battles that are being won in various countries across the world to different degrees of success, yes, are because of a tiny minority of people at the start, but what is still a small minority of people who are taking that action, who are speaking out, who are organising movements and who are doing what it takes. And if you're one of those people, and I think most of my subscribers are, let's acknowledge that, because we are faced with a lot of people in our midst who have done absolutely nothing, and who have shown and demonstrated that they will literally do nothing right up until the point that mass murder is being committed. And we can say that is already going on. Yes, but you get the point that I'm making. There are people who will not stand up with us regardless of what happens. They won't. So for those of us who have taken that responsibility to protect the rights of many people who really don't deserve their freedom, but their children do. So for those of us who have taken a stand in whatever way, and there's many different ways and different strategies and different personalities and different approaches, all with one common unifying vision of restoring our basic human rights, us, our friends, our families, our neighbours, and most importantly the children. Let's acknowledge, the work that we have done. And sometimes I think we forget that because we're always preoccupied with what's coming next, spotting more threats on the horizon, and there are, but let's just acknowledge what we've done. And in time, when we do win this war, everything will be documented. Who did what, who said what, who didn't take any action, who stood there and did nothing. It's all going to be documented. So yeah, amazing things happening. Let's stay vigilant, let's stay on guard, and let's, give ourselves a little bit of show ourselves a little bit of gratitude as well for what we've done so far. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment as well, and let me know what you think. All right, speak to you soon, and hopefully my face is looking a bit better by the next video. Bye bye.